Kelvin Mackenzie. Jonathan is here, and Jonathan, on top of all your watchmaking, you're also committed to a kind of military charity aspect. And I wonder whether you could talk to us about that.
Well, first of all, it's Armed Forces Week this week. We have, by natural progression, worked with military units. A lot of the stuff we do is private. It's not a marketing thing. You're not going to see it in a jeweler's window, because there are units out there that want some recognition, want to celebrate an anniversary or celebrate the retirement of a piece of equipment.
Good idea.
With that. And there isn't huge budgets for this thing. So what they tend to do is come to me and commission a piece. We'll do a presentation. They literally deal with the people making the watches, and they like the fact it's all assembled in the UK.
I see. So for instance, because the whole point of being in the army is a collective experience, isn't it? These are lifelong friends. If you've got somebody who's literally firing a gun which has knocked off somebody who's trying to kill you, that is something which you're going to be collectivized for the rest of your life. So if you want to have a watch which celebrates something. I'm not talking about war. I'm talking about friendships or relationships.
I'm here with Hugh from We Served, who kindly brought me in, and I think it's more to that. And Hugh said it to me just before. Yeah. It's not just the people serving in the forces; it's their families, it's their children. Yeah. There seems to be a community out there which we need to not support but work with opportunities and give them opportunity.
I totally get that, and you sometimes you kind of see that in a sense, that once somebody has actually left that collective, right, they are their friends. They can feel lost in an ordinary civilian community. Yep. And whether it's a watch or it's a cufflink or it's a tie or it's a uniform, suddenly there is a unity that's who I am. So I totally get that. So what happens here then? Somebody will come to you and say, X has happened and we want to celebrate it.
Yes, something has happened. They want to celebrate it. They want something as a recognition. They rarely get recognition publicly now. Yeah. And also, it's an exclusivity. They've got something that no one else has. It's not a question of value. And that's why with We Serve, we're doing a digition with them, which will only be available to veterans. Yeah. So only veterans can buy this watch. It's not a price thing. We're going to price it very reasonably. We'll do it in the UK. Yeah. But I think it's a recognition of their service by having something that no one else can have.
Fine. Jonathan, I know. We Serve, I've never heard of. And I don't know your name either. So. Hugh, right. Yeah. Oh, well, don't want to hang around here. You'll end up doing the news. So tell me, Hugh, what is We Serve? Just explain to the viewers.
So We Served is a digital platform for 5.1 million veterans and their family members who, when they leave military service, as we found out, often lose their sense of purpose, their sense of identity. This very much came about, actually. I have a really good relationship with Rebecca and the son, etc. Okay. And after the Help for Heroes piece, suddenly the military and veterans and what have you came to the forefront. But government after government has successfully failed to look after our veterans and their families. So for the past 16 years, I've been helping put veterans into employment, along with Andy McNabb and the late, great General Sir Mike Jackson. God bless him.
Do you know what? Can I just interrupt you? I was in South Carolina recently, and it also was true in Atlanta. When you're queuing for your plane, the first thing that they say, I feel it was quite an emotional thing to hear it, actually, when they said, for people to come forward first and come forward to veterans and members of our armed services and thank you for what you do for us. I thought, my God, in the UK, you'd never hear that. And I remember in Peterborough, an army officer, because there'd be some issues involving soldiers, right? And they said, don't wear your uniform, right? Because we don't want you to be attacked. And I remember thinking at the time, that is an absolute disgrace. Anyway, I'm sorry for that. But we don't have that sense. Sometimes at Waterloo, if I see a soldier walking with his camouflage on, walking across there, in the same way as if I see a police officer, to be fair, I am so grateful that there is going to be somebody who might do something in the case of an emergency.
Yeah, and I mean, Kelvin, you know, I grew up. I did 4 tours to Northern Ireland. The reason we didn't have uniforms because the enemy was on our own back doorstep. Yeah. So that's obvious reasons. But certainly since Iraq, Afghanistan, where our beef has been abroad, actually there was a change. There was a mindset change, and that really, and I will say, it came about with the introduction of Help for Heroes, and you know, Bryn Parry, God bless him, did a great job. That said, and you know, I'm a big supporter of military charities, but there are far too many, I'm afraid. And what's happened?
Do you get sometimes? I get the impression. For instance, I'm wearing one now. I'm unsure. I always give, by the way. I'm not boasting. I just do. Right. I'm unsure sometimes where some of that money may be going, but perhaps I'm being a little bit closed-eyed.
There's a cost of running any. People seem to forget that charities are businesses, and there's a cost of running a business. We are not a charity, and I say that because veterans are not victims. We are assets. Yeah. And I want to change that narrative.
Yeah,
you know, if you want to keep the 2012 Olympics secure, G4S didn't did it. Who did it? Oh yeah, the army. Yeah. You know, if you want to keep our borders secure, who do we bring in? Oh, the military. Yeah. If the West Country goes underwater, who do we call in? The military. If you want to roll out a vaccination program, who do logistics? The military. So what I'm saying is, and you know, we've got some great corporate employers who go, they you know, they look at someone from the military and say, well, I don't really get it. Say, well, hold on, this person puts fibre optic cabling in all around Afghanistan. I'm pretty damn sure you can put it up the M4, M5 when you need it. You know, and if you want your buildings secure and safe and working and operational, get them to do it. We're about to do
Do you find that? That's an interesting point. Do you find that when perfectly skilled or highly skilled members of the military come out of the military, do they struggle to find work of a significant kind, as distinct from doing some...
Yeah, and I think this, I'm a big fan of AI. I see it as an enabler. We have a job board with over 1,100 jobs on it. And I was on Mike's show earlier this week. Right. And a family-owned garage, Keen and Eager, in Maidenhead said, we need a vehicle technician. Well, we do vehicle technicians. So we've already, now they've come on board, they've paid their 250 quid for an advert, and we will find them a vehicle technician. I'm a big fan for the military personnel in what I call AI-proof jobs. Boiler engineers, heating engineers, aircraft engineers. You need people who do stuff.
As distinct from people like me, actually.
No, but I think that's really important because, I mean, you know, the News UK especially, you know, the Millies, the Sun, and I worked for the Sun last year or the year before the election, massive supporters of the military, and I don't like the bashing they get for the support that they give. And
do they get bashing for that?
I think some do. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think some do, but I remain non-partisan. My party is my community, and that's why we work together with brands, especially British brands. Tomorrow I've got a soldier coming on Mike's show who got 54 caps playing rugby for Scotland. And everything we wear now is made by his company in Northampton, Matty Stewart. So I'm like, look, British soldiers, British veterans, British companies.
So let's just go back to this point then, that when their military careers are over, and they could probably, let's be honest with it, they could have done 25 years and they'd still only be 40.
40.
Yeah. So their life is massively 100%. Ahead of them. I say, if you can think it, you can do it in this world. So 100%. Even me, so I started a couple of businesses literally in the last 18 months, 2 years, right? So, and there's nothing exceptional about me, right? So anybody can do this. So when they're 40, is there work for them?
Yes, there is.
Are they finding that there is opportunities for them, or do they sometimes find you get some dick who decides that actually the military is not the right background, right? It's not about what's, you know, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like any walk of life. Not everyone's perfect, right? I'm not perfect, and, you know, etc.
Well, Jonathan's perfect.
Jonathan's perfect. I mean, you have to be. We work with tweezers. But what we're trying to do is create pathways. So we're saying, look, For example, I'll give you an example where we recruit a lot of people. McDonald's.
Yeah.
What do? Yeah. People go, oh, they do burgers. Actually, they store stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And the military store stuff: kit, equipment, rations,
Yeah.
petrol, oil. Yeah. So we took guys coming out of the military and started converting them into restaurant managers because they were looking after buns, they were looking after coffee, and distributing it.
Yeah.
So what we need are people who've got the ability, the sort of attitude and what I call aptitude.
Can do.
To think
Yeah.
a little bit outside
Yeah.
the box.
Yeah.
And we've invested in them.
No,
McNabb
not-
always says,
I don't
we've
even
paid
think,
for them.
I don't think you can think outside the box. Think inside
Yeah.
the bloody box. A collection of bloody half-wits we're turning out at the moment. Anyway, gentlemen, that's it, I'm afraid. Great to see you. That was a very interesting discussion.
Thank
I
you.
wish you'd come in earlier as well.
I will. Happy
You
to do
probably
so.
had me weeping by the end of it all. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Kelly.